Oh, well, hello there. It's good to see all the smiling faces out there. Welcome to 2025.
Wow.
My goodness.
That's a good year numerologically.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because it adds up to a 9, which is a sign of completion.
Wow.
I think we're about to start on an enormously chaotic period.
Oh, God. Always and it always.
It's going to be an offer, buddy.
We'll see. We'll see. Oh, my.
Anyway.
So, anyways, this wonderful gentleman you see before me is...
I'm Mark.
Mark. I am Elmer.
And
we
this
are
is Mark and Elmer's PSI Piano Scene Investigations.
And you know the MO.
And we've got all of our friends here with
Yes.
us. Our boys are here, Igor and Grobu and their pet Tookie. And
Special guest.
hello everybody, this is Dmitry. I come to see the show with the boys today. Before I go back to Novosibirsk, I had a great time in Cyprus. Pretty girls, warm weather, sweet wine, olive oil, good times. Mr. Elmer, he would have had a good time. Mr. Mark already knows. But I also here to hopefully ensure that everything works and they have a good first show in the new year. Plus, I wanted to see my boy Igor, before I go back. So.
Well, thank you for coming by.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, everybody.
Hey,
say
hello.
Ah!
Yes. Oh, so what do we got to talk about this year? Cheers. Oh, cheers.
I'm not
Absolutely.
going to have this.
Yes.
It's tea.
Yes. I've needed this all day, as you can tell. I've been at the store again playing the piano for 4 hours.
On Thursday. Is that a new thing?
Well, one of the pianists went on vacation.
Oh.
So
She
I'm
covered.
actually covering 2 schedules now. So
So you got here at 3:30. How long did you play today?
I played for 4 hours since 11 o'clock.
Wow.
So that's nothing. You were a college student, piano major. We're used to like 6-hour
You
sessions.
take a break every hour?
I do.
10 minutes or so?
10 minutes, 15
Okay. Yeah.
sometimes. So, but anyways, so,
Well, you look good.
well, thanks.
I mean, you
Do
look,
what?
you look, I mean, we all have that kind of, at
Yeah.
our age.
Yeah, sure we do.
Buddha belly,
Yeah,
Lots of joy and fun in our life. But overall, you look smaller.
I
Your
do.
hips, your legs, your shoulders, and your back. Now you don't
No
look
way.
quite as. I'm not saying you look healthy and muscular and
well,
stuff,
good.
but you look like maybe you lost some weight.
I don't know. I don't know.
You didn't eat like a pig over the holidays, did you?
Not really.
And you were
Not really.
working hard with things.
And we were working hard. Yes. So a lot of
A
travel.
lot of stress.
A lot of stress. And,
Family. My gosh, she's got a big
my
family.
goodness, big family. Lots of things happening. They're taking. Oh, I forgot to mention, Chewy's on the mend.
Hey!
Chewy's going to be.
Cheeto!
Yeah, Chewy. I mean, he's not going to be able to run. I don't know if the running's going to be in the program, but
He's going
his
on 11
tail,
now, right?
his tail is like this. When his tail's up like this and going out like this, and and he's willing to pick a fight with a husky, down the street. Then the old Chewy's back.
He's in Pyrenees, right?
Yeah, he's half Great Pyrenees, and the other is Gold Retriever,
Oh, really?
Gold Lab, maybe.
Uh-huh.
and possibly wolf.
Oh,
Possibly.
wow.
Okay. I mean, he's got those. The doctor said something about those blue eyes.
That explains the rooting out the wild animals in the bushes.
Yeah, yeah, that could be
They
it.
don't have any problem with wild animals in their yard because Chewy eats them.
Yeah, he does. Oh, but he also tried to chase a deer. So
Wow.
I mean, he couldn't quite catch up, but of course. Anyways, yeah, you're right. He's going on 11 years.
That's pretty good for a dog that is.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's how it is.
So, but anyways, before we start,
Here we go.
I guess 0101 episode.
This is 0101.
The pitch for Corey piano polish.
Da-da-da.
Here it is. If you're looking for something to erase those blemishes or those fingerprints or face prints or footprints, this is the solution right here. Corey's piano polish. Okay, get one near you today.
And in a rush, if you find yourself short, he even uses it for hair polish before he performs.
Well, that quite possibly well be. Quite possibly. It doesn't make much of an aftershave either.
Yeah, he
It
said
really isn't.
that Kathy's not real crazy about the scent.
No, I'm not real crazy about this. Probably not. So, anyways,
Wow.
let's see. What have I been doing lately? Well, all right. Practicing wise, the practice time has been somewhat limited for me for the last month or so. But I've been doing a lot of slow practice, trying to get my scales back up to shape. I still have the Haydn Fantasy memorized, which is good. I almost have the Beethoven's 32 C minor variations. It's close. Let's see, the Griffiths is very close. I'm about halfway now. So,
This is Blue Pelican.
Blue Pelican.
No, you're doing, which one are you doing?
The Pleasure Dome of Kubla
Kubla
Khan.
Khan. Yeah.
Kubla Khan.
Wow.
So that, and I've also been working on Chopin's the Trois Nouvelles Etudes.
Uh-huh. You wrote those from Marshallese or something?
Marshallese, Ignace Marshallese method books.
Yeah.
So, and recently, I just discovered on YouTube that Yunchen Lin actually played them at a recital. I think it was Carnegie Hall.
The Trois Nouvelles?
Yeah, and they weren't on the CD release of the Chopin Etudes, but
no, those are just 10.
yeah. So but the Trois Nouvelles Etudes, he did perform over at, I think, what looked like Carnegie Hall.
So you saw it?
Yeah, it's right there on YouTube. I mean,
Cool.
it only lasted about 5 to 10 minutes, and that was it.
Yeah.
So, otherwise, let's see, anything else? I decided to peruse through the Mephisto Waltz.
Ooh, the first version.
The first version, yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Well, there's 4 of them all.
yeah, all 4 of them. And anyways, I've been perusing through the Leslie Howard edition
Oh.
and the Earl Wild edition.
Ooh, so that's a very interesting
Yeah,
editorial suggestion.
Earl Wild came up with some really interesting things.
Isn't he the one who edited the 2 books of some of the more famous works of Liszt, right? Franz Liszt.
Which one?
Or what?
Earl Wild? Oh yeah,
there's 2 volumes.
There's 2 volumes. Yeah.
Because long after I'd learned it, and I think I actually learned it from the Budapest edition, that green book, because that's got all the fingerings with Ellsworth. But sometime later, I got to bring this piece back to life. I've played it for a number of years, but probably for at least a decade. It was seriously part of my repertoire.
Yeah.
I played it to a lot of places, but I looked at Earl Wild's, and Liszt is one composer that I think it's okay to dress it up.
Yeah.
Something's changed things, because everybody did.
Yeah, everybody
But Liszt apparently did, if you hear it.
Yes.
They students talk about it. So, some
composers and periods are more iconic than others, I
Yes.
suppose. But anyway, I changed a few things, you know, added a few things. And I was pleased to find that Earl Wild made suggestions
Oh yeah.
in a few places in the second ballad. And I actually adopted one of his changes later on in the piece because I thought it was brilliantly effective,
Oh, yeah.
even more than what I had tried to do to make it.
Yes.
Maybe not my bad.
Yeah.
You know, or as anybody to try to make Liszt better. But maybe
Yeah.
the word isn't better, but just somehow you get caught up in the fervor. And
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
get a little bit of this Liszt fever in you, and you just have to.
Yes. Exactly.
But I do have the complete Liszt recordings of Leslie Howard.
Howard. Yeah.
And the guy was really amazing. What's amazing is you met him and spoke to him personally.
Yeah, I did.
More than once. Right?
I had dinner with him.
Yeah. This is a British pianist.
Yes.
I've heard of a tall guy.
Oh yeah, he's quite tall.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, he has the
Yeah, I mean he's
wherewithal to do that kind of
yes,
thing.
complete Beethoven, complete Liszt. Let's see what else was there. The 4 Anton Rubinstein piano sonatas, and he's done the Glazunov sonatas.
You know who he reminds? Who comes to mind?
Yeah.
When I think of what he did, because he's one of those completion pianists.
Yeah.
Johansen.
Yeah. Oh,
Gunnar.
Yeah.
Gunnar was a
Yeah.
completist kind of guy.
Wow.
He did. I don't know if he put them all on record, but when Gunnar was a student of Egon Petri and Ignaz Friedman. He was Danish and old school. I mean, from the Busoni lineage. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And he migrated to the United States. He's very good friends, colleagues with Victor Borge. Borge went one way, and Gunnar went literally the other way.
Yeah.
I think Victor Borge's house was in Connecticut, and Gunnar was out in San Francisco. Yeah. And he had a radio show he did where he played a concert every week on the radio show. He ended up playing, I don't know that he recorded all of it, but he did perform all of Bach, period.
Good.
Everything for solo keyboard in his career. And he did all Beethoven sonatas and I think the other stuff too. Variations and important works. He did all Mozart. And then importantly, he, a project I have, I think, close to, not 30 of them, but they number up into the 30s, but there's some missing. He had the university set him up. I'll shut up. This just reminded me when you're talking. You need to talk about Leslie. He was an artist professor at Wisconsin. Wisconsin was the very first place in the United States to take up Elizabeth Sprague Coolidge's offer to have scholarships in place for bringing really European faculty were escaping problems in Europe at the time. So in 1938, I don't remember the guy's name, but the very first artist in residence was truly an artist, painter, that was brought in, and he was in 1938. 1939, they pulled in Gunnar, and he came, and then in 1940, the Priority Quartet of Belgium was trapped in the United States, and the Nazis had launched the Blitzkrieg, and they couldn't go back home. And Wisconsin contacted and said, would you like to come here? And they've been in residence ever since. And I believe Gunnar's position is, in a sense, still there, because I think my teacher, Howard Clark, kind of, in a sense, replaced Gunnar, or he stepped in after it might have belonged to Paul Badger-Skoda for a while, because Paul Badger-Skoda and his wife were both at Madison, maybe 10 years or so.
Wow.
And now, which one of it is it? Christopher O'Reilly? Is it
Christopher
Madison?
O'Reilly.
He's in Madison.
Yeah.
Yeah. He might be in that same kind of position now.
Wow.
They work as piano professors and such, but I think there is that unique position where, because of their heightened artistic acknowledgement, they're expected to carry that. But Gunnar lived out in Blue Mountains. I think was it a couple of mountains? Wisconsin. It's west of Madison, out a ways up in the countryside. There's a lot of Scandinavians up there, and there's a Norwegian community called Mount Horeb, and there are little trolls all over town. And there were great cheese plays and all that. Yeah. And then there's a place called Mount Horeb. But it's a very dense, and now things might have changed, but back in those days, Norwegians and Swedes, yeah, and some Danes as well. So he was Danish. But he had a house out there, and he had some interesting instruments. He had a Steinway, but he also had a Steinway that, I forget the guy's name was, that was a double manual concert grand Steinway. Like a big old French harpsichord. Wow. It had a double action in it, so he could play like that. And he recorded some of his Bach stuff on that instrument. Wow. Yeah, and he had a couple other instruments. Of course, he had a Steinway of his own and such. But I think there was at least 3 instruments there in his music group. But the important thing is that I think it was the radio station, the name escapes me right now, but I think they were not even a 4-letter, but a 3-letter, because they were back in the mono days. Yeah. They brought some recording equipment out to his house to do some stuff, and he expanded on that over there so that he had his own recording studio, and he called it Blue Artist Direct recording studio in Blue Mountains, Wisconsin. And he did his own work. He learned how to do it and stuff. Manufactured, had copies of the records made and stuff. So I'll finish after this. I was taken by a very famous Unitarian Universalist minister, retired from the Frank Lloyd Wright Union Church in Madison. But he's still active, and he was going out and doing supply ministry at a Freie Gemeinde, Free Thinkers Church, out in a small town, Sauk Prairie. It was actually called Sauk City, and there's Prairie du Sac, but they eventually got together and they called it Sauk Prairie.
How do you say that word again? Free something?
Freie Gemeinde. Freie Gemeinde. Freie is free. Okay. And Gemeinde means thinkers. People. So these people came from the revolution of 1848-49, yeah, specifically in this case from Germany. Wagner famously got exiled to Switzerland for 25 years because of his participation in Dresden, but turns out the revolutions were all over Europe. Yeah. But a lot of Germans, once they realized that the aristocracy had won this round, they left for the United States, and hordes of them settled into more familiar territory, the cooler, kind of hilly climes of Wisconsin. Minnesota's not so hilly, but those states and all the way up into the Dakotas are famous for being full of Scandinavians and Germans. And anyway, Gunnar set up, and he did that. I became the music director of the Freie Gemeinde Kirche, the Free Thinkers Church in Sauk Prairie. And I was there for 3 years. I did it. But they had a really cool building, and there's some cool historic instruments in it. One was a big, huge Steinway square grand from the 1880s that had been rebuilt and everything. Yeah. So I did a list recital on the whole thing. And there were some people that were there, and as it turns out, there was a woman that was there, and she and her husband came and heard the concert, and they invited me over to their home at some point after that. He was a banker, and they'd been extremely close, like really close, friends with Gunnar and his wife. And every year, all these years that they knew one another, Gunnar would give them one of his albums and sign it. Just a little Christmas.
Yeah, I know. Still.
And I was so surprised when they invited me over, and we sat down and had some tea, I think it was. And he told me, this was really nice, because he said, the way that you play Liszt and the way that you speak about it, and I like the way you talk and help the audience understand it, and then you play it. He says it reminds me so much of Gunnar. And to be honest, I think I got the habit of standing and talking by seeing some of Gunnar's performances in Wisconsin before he stopped and then before he died. And he would just stand up and speak about the music or something historical and all that stuff. Whether it was at the university or at the church in Madison. And I don't know exactly where I got that idea, but I had been doing it before, but I thought, why don't important people do this? So maybe it's okay to do it. But anyway, he said, you remind me so much in ways of Gunnar. And he said, I'd like to give you something. And his wife had already gotten it. And the entire collection is not complete, but I'd say it's nearish complete.
Pretty close.
Of Gunnar's supposedly complete recordings, at least at the time that he would have been doing it, the known repertoire. There'd probably been some more things dug up, because I know Leslie's got some newer stuff. But on all these LPs, those were all a gift from this husband and his wife. And then one of my proudest moments was I had done Wisconsin Public Radio in Madison does Sunday afternoons from the Albion. The Albion is this museum that's connected with the Fine Arts Building on the Madison campus. Wonderful. It was privately funded, and then it's somehow private and connected with the university somehow. I don't know exactly how to do it. Probably started Gunnar sometime way back because he was doing all kinds of stuff all the time. But they do a concert in one of the galleries at the museum every week on Sunday afternoon. Is it 2 or 2 o'clock, I think. 2 to 4 maybe. And I don't know how it happened, but I got invited to do one when I was studying with Ellsworth after I finished my master's. And I played, it was a radio program. It was live with estimated audience of 50 to 100,000 people. And I played the Schubert A-flat impromptu from the first book, the Mozart little A major concerto with string quartet. Was it quartet? Yeah. 2 violins and one cello, right? And me. And Mozart arranged them that way, so you can do this chamber music. And then I played the Liszt second ballad and the Liszt funeral. I came home later. And it was an early evening, and the little red light was blinking on my phone. And it was a little digital chip phone, not a tape or anything like that, unfortunately. And it automatically would erase itself when it got full, or it wouldn't take messages. But I usually kept it clean so you could get messages. So I pushed the button, and hello, Marc. This is Gunnar Johansen. I don't even know if he said yes. He said, this is Gunnar. Anyway, he said, I just wanted to applaud your performance. What a wonderful performance. He said the list was really quite good. Very impressive. He said it's a nice thing. And I thought, well, this is really cool because he found my phone. We didn't know each other like that. And I know he didn't have my phone number, but he must have looked it up and found it. He called me and left a message. Wow. I thought that was really cool.
That's good on your hands, folks.
Yeah, and there was no way to preserve it. Unless I unplugged the phone and kept that only for that purpose. Nice. We were grad students. Anyway, but Leslie Howard, in terms of the things that he's done, reminds me, maybe Brindle has been like that in a way. The Central European repertoire. One of the first recordings that were bought massive LP boxes, all the Beethoven stuff. But he also had a period, people may not know that, but he was a serious Liszt pianist for a period of time. And my favorite performance ever of the Totentanz is an old monaural recording with Alfred Brindle. It's demonically intense. It's really
Leslie?
You know when I get going. But
Okay,
I
Leslie.
haven't been able to see this boy for a few weeks.
Yeah, we've been on hiatus here. Well, Leslie Howard. All right. Kathy and I, we both showed up. Okay, so we were invited to dinner, and one of my good friends knows him really well. They come and visit each other maybe once or twice a year. So
This is xylophone guy or piano?
this is the marimba guy.
That's right.
Marimba guy. So, anyway, so we got invited, and so we sat down and had dinner. And I remember talking that with my buddy, about a week before Leslie Howard was to arrive. And there were specific things that he likes at dinner time for his meal. And he wanted his beef stew or something cooked in the English style, is what he said, the English style, whatever that is. And he likes his wine with dinner. Anything else? Potatoes. He likes his potatoes. Anything else? That was pretty much about it. But
Pretty British.
I'm sorry?
Pretty British.
Oh, it's very British. It is very British. So we all sit down. We're getting ready to sit down to eat. We finally sit down. And our host's mother says, Maestro, would you please say the blessing?
Wow.
I know. And so he says, it's nothing, really. He says, oh, please, don't. It's just lovely. And so what does he do? It sounded like he was saying grace in Latin. Mind you, it was Latin. He is how he did it. And so he said his blessing, and we all ate. We started talking, and we talked about books. I mentioned a book back then. I can't remember the title of it, though. It was, maybe some of you might remember this book, but it was a book that had, there was one big giant sort of problem or logical problem, and the only way to find the answer is if you go through the chapters and solve those problems first, the smaller problems, and then the big question at the end of the book. And that's what it was. And he grew interested in it because I told him that there were like footnotes on the side and in the margins and stuff, and he says, and he was intrinsically very interested in that book, and he went and looked it up and said, I will definitely get that book. But I can't remember the title of it. So if you remember what it is, please let us know in the comments below. So anyways, so we had a good time having dinner, and then came time for music. This Leslie Howard, this guy, he was definitely must have had a past life being a pianist. Here's a guy that I asked him once about a pianistic problem. I was working on the Chopin Etude number 1, C major, that's got the wide arpeggios, and he says to me, he says, young man, he says, I would never play any of these pieces at concert. They're way too difficult. Mm-hmm. He says, but if you must, okay, you could do it this way. He showed a different fingering.
He's got big hands.
Yeah, he's got big hands still. But get this though, he played it in E flat. He played it in B flat. He played it in F sharp major.
Wow.
He just had that affinity to be able to just change keys anytime he wants. He just did it. Now, not only did he do that, our host started made a few requests about certain pieces that, just off the top of his head. Can you play, I think it was the Fufale by Liszt. And then he asked for one of the Moments Musicales by Rachmaninoff. And he asked for, let's see, what else was there? Oh, well, then he got bored and decided to play the last movement of some Sibelius symphony.
Wow.
The entire movement.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was just absolutely amazing. So, but anyways, our host actually wanted me to play. So I got to play a couple of my transcriptions for Leslie Howard. And I played for him Beautiful Dreamer by Stephen Foster.
It was a nice, but
it's a concert transcription, and my concert transcription of the Shardosh.
That's a good one too.
So, and you know, he made this trip here, and I gave him copies of the manuscript. So somewhere in his library, his humongous library in London, England, he has my score for Beautiful Dreamer and the Shardash. So it's up there somewhere. So. But anyways, anything else that we did that day? Oh, he has a profound appreciation for rare alcoholic drinks. So another guest that was at the dinner time, he's a local person who collects whiskey or some kind of other drinks. He brought us a little bottle that was like this, a very rare bottle of whiskey. And he started handing out shot glasses to the boys, me included. And I wasn't going to participate, and Leslie Howard just, Elmer, participate? He says, oh, come on, man. He says, grow some hair on your chest. It'll be good for you. so I joined in. And so he started pouring out these little shot glasses, and only enough just to cover the bottom. And that was it. That was it. Just enough to cover the bottom.
Yeah.
So Leslie Howard sits there. He says, well, gentlemen, he's holding his, he says, maybe find you in fine form in the next dozen or so years or something like that. He said something really profound. And so, all right, bottoms up. So he takes his little shot glass, puts it down, shuts his eyes, goes like this. You know, and somebody says, is he okay? He said, like this. And he stayed, I kid you not, he stayed in that state for about a good 10 minutes.
Wow.
I think he was just basking in the flavor or whatever was in the alcohol. I wasn't quite sure how to take that because all I did was go out like this. And you know, somebody told me, he says, Elmer, he says, you're going to have to down that before it evaporates. So I just went out like that. And, well, I'm not an experienced whiskey drinker, okay? And so I didn't know how to make a judgment call on it. It sort of had a bitter taste to it, strong bitter taste, but you definitely feel the alcohol because it was a little bit also hot at the same time. But, you know, after 10 minutes of watching him going like this, you know, then he wanted to play cards. It was an interesting evening. So, but when let's see, it was finally time to say goodnight. He was such a gentleman. He came over, and shook my hand, put his hand on my shoulder, and says, "Thank you so much." He says, "Your music is, wonderful. Your manuscript was beautiful." He says, "I'll definitely look at it while I'm on the plane." He says, so. And anyways, he came over to Kathy, my wife, and what does he do? He didn't shake her hand. He comes over and kisses her right on the cheek. Very English. So, but anyways, he told us about he enjoyed our company and all this and stuff. But anyways, I never got to see him again. Well, actually, no, we did see each other again. He came back a couple of years later to do a radio broadcast over at the Ohio State campus. He and another pianist were going to play piano four hands arrangement of Le Prelude by Liszt. And that was interesting too. As a matter of fact, I think he also played the Gross Concert Solo by Liszt, which was something like a 15-minute work. He eventually arranged it again for a piano orchestra. It's also called Concerto Pathétique. You don't know it? I'll bring it over sometime. Okay. So, but anyways, yeah, it's a very rarely performed work. It's done as solo. I think there's also even a piano four hands arrangement of it, but the there's also a piano orchestra version. Believe it or not, I actually have it somewhere, so I'll bring it over sometime. But anyways, he played it solo, and it was quite a brilliant piece, to say the least. I mean, it was everything that you would expect from Leslie Howard to do. The other work that was on there was, let's see, the Late Prelude for piano, four hands, once again arranged by Liszt. And the other, let's see, the other pianist played secondo while he played primo, and it was, I'm trying to remember the name of the pianist, but he was he tied for silver medal at the Van Cliburn competition. He was some Russian guy. Sorry?
Is that Canadian?
No, the Van Cliburn competition, let's see, that year, Olga Kern and Stanislav Udanich both shared the gold medal first prize. Then the second place winners were some Russian guy and this other guy who was Italian, who now teaches in the Cleveland Institute of Music. It was some Italian guy. I can't remember his name, but his wife is a pianist as well. So, but otherwise, that was pretty much it. That's what I know about Leslie Howard.